Jai Hind to all and welcome to your YouTube channel, Emily the Futurist. Today's update is on my personal views on the concept of Greater Israel and the the crisis that the situation that Middle East is in. Now, Lebanon's parliament ended up electing Army Chief Joseph Aoun as the country's next president with 99 out of 128 votes. Now, his election comes after 12 failed attempts since 2022 and raises hope for an end to Lebanon's political and economic crisis. Now, can Lebanon be a stable country by such leadership? No. I personally feel absolutely no. The entire Middle East, for that matter, except UAE, lacks in democracy. The Greater Israel needs to be formed to ensure that we have a stable Middle East with stable leadership that promotes cooperation and economic growth of the region and global partnerships. A little about Lebanon. Now, Lebanon gained independence in 1943, but its new leaders created a system of governance that would eventually become a recipe for disaster. Now, the country's three major religious groups, Maronite Christians, Shiite Muslims, and Sunni Muslims, they were given proportional representation with each group holding key positions in government. However, this system failed to address the deep-seated sectarian differences that would eventually tear the country apart. Now, the Lebanese civil war, which lasted from 1975 to 1990, was a brutal reminder of the country's sectarian divisions. The war drew in Israeli and Syrian forces, resulting in the deaths of over 1 lakh people. The withdrawal of Syrian forces in 2005 was meant to mark a new era of peace, but it was short-lived. The assassination of the Prime Minister Rafiq Hariri sparked a new wave of violence, and the 2006 war between Israel and Hezbollah only deepened the sectarian divide. Today, Lebanon is still grappling with the consequences of its sectarian system. The country has been without a president since October 2022, and the leadership gap has sparked fears of a new wave of violence. So, the unique balance of power in Lebanon has made it, difficult for stakeholders to reach to a consensus, particularly when it comes to filing the presidency. Lebanon's sectarian divisions have also made it a proxy battleground for regional powers. Iran supports Hezbollah, while Saudi Arabia backs Sunni politicians like former Prime Minister Saad Hariri. This has only added to the complexity of Lebanon's power struggle, making it even more challenging to find a solution. Now, Lebanon's tense political situation can largely be attributed to political gridlock, but has also occurred because of the spillover from the Syrian civil war. In addition to hosting more than 1.5 million refugees, over 8 lakh of whom are Syrian, the nearly 13-year conflict in Syria has affected cross-border trade and dampened Lebanon tourism industry. In addition to this world's third highest ratio of debt to gross domestic product, Lebanon also maintains one of the largest refugee populations per capita. Now, despite Lebanon's disassociation policy, Hezbollah's armed component has also been involved in the Syrian civil war and the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. This has aggravated relations between Hezbollah and Israel along the shared and disputed Israeli-Lebanon border, and has also led to increasingly hostile articulate exchanges between Hezbollah and Israel over Israeli airstrikes in Syria. Now, Hezbollah has allegedly supported Syrian President Bashar al-Assad since the start of the Syrian war in 2011. In October 2019, widespread protests they erupted throughout Lebanon as a result of endemic corruption and a complete stagnation of their economy. Now, protesters coming from all the religious sections, they called for establishment of a new political regime which did away with the sectarian divides that had plagued the country since its independence. This rare unity among the citizens resulted in the resignation of the cabinet of ministers and put into motion the reshuffling of the government. However, during this COVID-19 pandemic, they put an end to an effective end to any change that has been culminating. Now, tensions between the government and its citizens, they reached an all-time high once again following an explosion at the port of Beirut in August 2020, which costed an estimate of 15 billion US dollars in damages and left more than 3 lakh homeless people. The explosion, which many attributed to years of government negligence, reignited widespread protests and saw the entire cabinet resign, with the government staying on only in as a caretaker capacity. Now, the domestic investigation into the explosion has become highly politicized affair as the Shia majority political parties Amal and Hezbollah, they have moved to obstruct the investigation by shielding politicians and threatening the presiding judge. As of February 2024, fighting between Hezbollah and the Israeli military along the southern Lebanese border continues to escalate, having displaced over 90,000 individuals from South Lebanon. Since October 7, 2023, more than 1,700 rockets have been fired from Lebanon towards Israel, killing 15 Israelis and injuring more than 150 people, according to the Israeli military. Now, approximately 158 Lebanese people, they have been killed in the ongoing violence, including at least 25 civilians and 686 people have been wounded. On October 13, a Reuters journalist was also killed and 6 other journalists were also wounded in shelling by Israeli forces while they were reporting at the border. Now, fueled by concerns about the journalists being potentially targeted in Gaza and South Lebanon, human rights organizations have also called for an investigation into the attack. Now, on November 5th, an Israeli airstrike on a car between the southern Lebanese village of Ayanta and air around killed 3 girls between the ages of 10 and 14 and their grandmother, sparkling outrage throughout the country. So now what should be done after listening and understanding these series of unstable events? What next for Lebanon? Can the country find its way to overcome its sectarian divisions and move towards a more stable future? The answer remains uncertain. But one thing is clear: Lebanon's sectarian system must be addressed if the country is to have any hope of moving forward. More than ever, Middle East stability depends on one crucial issue: a resolution of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. So proponents argue that a stronger, more unified Israel would bring stability to the region, allowing for greater security and prosperity for all nations involved. Now, this perspective emphasizes the importance of a stable democracy in the region. There will be a unified Jewish state. Then regional stability will be formed. A stronger Israel would bring stability to the Middle East. Then the third point is about security and prosperity. Greater security and prosperity for all nations involved. And the last, stable democracy, which is imperative, emphasizing the importance of a stable democracy is in the region, it is essential to understand the Middle East, its potential, the natural resources, economic and political instability, and the way to overcome for global peace and development. I hope you found this video informative. Thank you for your time and thank you for watching it. Do share and like to our channel, and let us know what you like to hear in international relations and geopolitics in our comment section. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.